Tonight, the uncle of the two brothers accused of the marathon bombings talks to WGBH's Phillip Martin. We'll have his exclusive report. Plus, order in the court, the efforts behind cleaning up the Massachusetts court system. Now on Greater Boston. Good evening. The uncle of alleged marathon bombers, Tamerlan and Tsarnaev, who once called his nephews losers and a shame on the family, now tells WGBH his family is being harassed. In an exclusive interview with Phillip Martin, Ruslan Tsarni also says he does not believe his nephew Tamerlan was involved in the Waltham triple murder. We'll be talking with Phillip in just a minute, but first we are learning more about life in prison for Jahar from a recorded phone call to his mother. In a TV interview with UK's Channel 4, the suspect's mother, Zubidat Tsarnaev, played a recording of her only phone call with Jahar since his arrest. One of the first things she asks is if her son is in pain. No, of course not. I'm already eating and have been for a long time. They are giving me rice and chicken now. Everything's fine.
I felt like he would scream that, what's going on, what's going on. He would ask the world, what's going on? But Mama, instead he was just calming me down, you know what I mean? He was trying to calm me down. Mama, you don't worry about anything.
In the same interview with British TV, Zubidat Tsarnaev revealed that her family has received $8,000 in support from sympathizers. And joining me now is WGBH's Phillip Martin, who spoke with Ruslan Tsarni yesterday at his home in Maryland. So this was a gamble on your part. You got in your car, drove down there, knocked on the door.
That's right. I-95, got to 210, I actually sat in the car for a while and then called when I knew he would be home. I was told by his wife earlier that he would be home after 2 o'clock. Called him and he said, well, look, I really don't want to talk to another reporter at all. And I said, well, give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes turned to an hour and 43 minutes inside his home.
Now, he didn't want you to record or take any photographs, but he was willing to basically tell you anything that you asked.
That's right. Recording was totally out of the question. He had it with recording. He felt that some words had, and this often happens, of course, had been distorted. But he was willing to talk about the events that had been shaping his life and his family's life for the past few weeks.
Yeah, a couple of terrible things have happened to him. He got his credit pulled from him. His city card called and canceled his accounts. His kids have been harassed, and they're little kids.
Yeah, the city. What he said basically was that he got a letter from Citibank, and they exercised what they consider their option to sever his credit and to sever his credit, his checking account at will, and they did it. They don't need any explanation, and he said, well, he was philosophical about it. He said, well, I'll simply have to go to another bank, but he definitely saw it as part of the fallout, the repercussions from this awful incident, this Boston Marathon, and he feels that it's sullied the Tsarnaev and the Tsarni. He's a Tsarni, the Chechen spelling of the word. He's a Tsarni, and Phillip sullied the reputation of the family.
So while Jahar's parents believe that he and Tamerlan are innocent, we just heard that from the mother and the husband and Zor, he does not believe that.
No.
He thinks they did this.
He thinks they did this. That doesn't mean, though, that he does not respond to family emergencies. He definitely believes they did it. He still believes that the boys are losers. He hasn't changed his opinion from what he said reactively on April what was it, 18th? Well, 18th, when they were still looking for Johar, when he asked him when he asked the boy that turned himself in. He believes that they're losers, but he also is first and foremost, he's a Tsarnaev or a Tsarni. And for that reason, it was he and two friends who basically dressed the body of Tamerlan. As you remember, no one wanted to claim the body. He claimed the body. He dressed the body. He washed the body. He buried Tamerlan Tsarnaev in Virginia. That was him and two others who did this when no one else wanted to do it. But that doesn't mean that he hasn't changed his mind about how his nephews, who he basically he helped raise these kids in many respects, how they have sullied the Tsarnaev name.
Did he tell you anything, or did you ask about the specifics of the condition of Tamerlan's body?
I did. It was difficult for him to talk about, but at the same time, again, he's philosophical. He saw this as his duty as a Muslim and as a Chechen to basically take care of the body. The body was in, he simply described it as very bad condition. Very bad condition, but he described it almost as an object. At this point, he was so distant from his nephew, especially the older boy. He particularly distant from him. He was so distant from him that he almost described it as an object, that the body was cuts, bruises, other things I'd rather not say on television. And he said it was up to him and his two fellow Muslims, also friends, to wash the body, to cleanse it in the tradition of Islam, in the tradition of Muslims.
All right, so you got into an in-depth discussion about this Waltham triple murder, which you've been covering as intently as anyone possibly can, because no one's really saying anything about it. But he told you, Ruslan told you, that he does not believe Tamerlan had anything to do with that. Why?
Well, as much as he firmly believes that they were responsible for the Boston Marathon bombings, though his mother does not believe that, he does not believe that the Waltham triple murders was something that this boy did. And the reasons are, he says that people advanced the notion that because he didn't attend the memorial service for Brendan Mess, who was the main victim, that is to say, the victim who owned the apartment where the three murders took place. He said he didn't attend the memorial service because he's a fundamentalist Muslim. This was his explanation. This is Ruslan Tsarni's explanation. He says, and as a fundamentalist, he's not going to attend a memorial service for any other religion. That was his explanation. He also said that he also said, you have to remember, these are his words again, Ruslan Tsarni, that this individual had gone to Russia 3 months after the murders. He went in January 2012 after the murders, but he went not to escape the law, says Tsarni. He went basically because he had to renew a passport, which is a difficult process in Dagestan.
Why couldn't it be both?
Well, it could be. It could be. But this is his explanation. He firmly believes that this did not happen. Now, he did not rule it out of the question. He said there is a very small possibility that it could have happened. He's not dismissing it altogether. But for him, he's incredulous that his nephew would have committed this murder, which he described as ritualistic.
If he could point-blank shoot a police officer in the head and place bombs that kill little children and young adults, why couldn't he be capable of killing 3 associates over something that, it could be perceived as a slight, it could be an assault to his religion, it could have been a drug deal, it could have been anything?
I posed that to him, and his response to that was, look, this again is his view, that he felt that this was quote-unquote ritualistic, that the type of murder that took place because someone was ultra angry, not opportunistic, not simply a question of taking drug money, which as some police officers believe was the larger motive.
But you could argue that this murder was ritualistic.
You could, and you could argue it with conviction, because a lot of the evidence suggests that this was not simply a random murder, but at the same time there are indications that Tsarnaev was in fact in the apartment that day, and may have had something to do with this crime.
Now, does Ruslan Tsarni want to have any conversation or anything to do with Johar? Does he want to talk to him? Will he attempt to see him while he's in prison? He's
estranged from the family. That doesn't mean he's estranged from the father. He's still very close to Johar's father, Anzor. It's the mother who he despises, and I mean despise. I use that with a capital D. There is extraordinary antipathy toward her.
She comes off as despicable. I hate to say it. I mean, it's like she jumps through the screen.
Well, what he feels basically is that he calls her a chameleon. That in 2008 he said she's wearing tight jeans. This is again his view: tight jeans and a miniskirt, which he felt was disrespectful to the family, and running around shoplifting. And the next year, she's a devout Muslim. He feels that she is opportunistic. This is his view, and said that and he feels that she corrupted her older son and the older son corrupted the younger son. Wow. This is her view.
Well, quite a story, and I know you're going to put together a piece for 89.7 too.
Yes,
Phil
indeed.
Martin.
Yes, indeed.
Right, good for you driving down there. That's a long drive.
A long drive, exactly.
As I said, Phil Martin will have a full report on his exclusive interview with Ruslan Tsarni on WGBHnews.org. You'll find that in our continuing coverage of the Marathon bombing case, all at WGBHnews.org.